All right, guys, here we go with the notes for Chapter 8, Video Marketing. While traditional television still leads in time spent viewing, an increasing amount of time is spent viewing videos as time-shifted TV, on the internet, and on mobile devices. There's a couple of charts in your textbook that explain some of those different ways that people are consuming video content, visual content, and as time goes along, people are getting more and more comfortable with the idea of TV that does not look like the typical TV of making an appointment at such and such a time on such and such a day to sit down and watch programming. Still a lot of that going on for certain big television events, and especially things like live events, sports, things like that. But we are getting more and more comfortable with watching things on much smaller screens and watching them whenever we have the time or the desire to do so. Google, who owns YouTube, asserts that U.S. consumers who view branded video content on smartphones are significantly more likely to watch, share, and feel personally connected to ads and to branded video content than their counterparts watching on desktop or on television. And there's a lot of factors that go into that. Number one, we are getting used to watching video content on the go. The fact that we can pull up short, long videos anytime, anywhere. The convenience of that, definitely making that much more attractive, that we can watch much more personalized content, and watch things that are more unique to our own tastes and things like that. But as we're getting more and more used to doing that, we're getting more and more, for lack of a better word, intimate with our phones, intimate with the idea of being able to interact with the content that we consume on our phones, including videos. At least a third of retail shoppers prefer to use their smartphone rather than to ask a store employee for assistance. Now, that could be a couple of different reasons. Number one, the video hopefully is going to be come from a certain authority standpoint, having a sort of knowledge base on the topic that we're talking about that perhaps a store associate might not have. There's also the fact that many of us, as we're getting more and more in the digital age, are becoming much more introverted, and the idea of approaching somebody and asking a question doesn't really make us feel very comfortable. So a couple of issues that go into that statistic where that is definitely becoming more and more the case. Consumers are more likely to take the actions that marketers desire as a result of branded videos seen on smartphones. Video has a way of influencing that many other forms of communication do not have. And we'll talk about some of the reasons for that as we go on through the chapter here. In addition to actually making purchases, shoppers also visited the brand website for more information, improved the favorability of their attitudes, and shared their positive perceptions with others in multiple ways. Now, we've been talking a lot about consumer marketing here, but it is also very effective in the business marketing world. 73% of executives watch business videos at least once a week. As fast-paced as the business world is getting, many times they don't necessarily have the time to invest in reading content or doing research on their own, at least in the way that business traditionally has been done. So the use of business video is also becoming more and more popular. The benefits of marketing with online videos. Well, first off, there's the engaging of viewers. Video is a very popular medium because it can create a stronger connection with consumers. It's particularly good for storytelling that is enjoyable to most viewers. So there's that idea that with the video and the content that's in the video, through the story, through the narrative, it's got a way of creating a certain intimacy in that it is connecting with the person that is viewing that content, especially where we are watching more content on smartphones, which is a much more personal medium. You don't necessarily see 5, 6, 7, 10 people huddled around a smartphone most of the time watching content on a regular basis. It's usually a one device, one person sort of thing. It even makes that personal connection idea much more prominent and much more focused, especially in the types of videos that we watch as we get more and more used to the idea of video on smartphone. The more senses that are involved in gathering information, the more engaging the process becomes. So obviously we can think of the visual aspect because we're watching moving pictures. But with video, you also have the auditory element, so your sense of hearing is going on there. You have the emotional element as well. We don't necessarily talk about that usually in terms of the senses, but it is something that we feel. It is something that we experience. Taste, touch, smell, those sort of things kind of happen in a indirect sort of way when you're experiencing the content and you're looking at, say, the deliciousness of a certain type of food. Or perhaps you're in an outdoor scenario and perhaps you can think back to when you were in the outdoors and smelling the fresh air of the forest or the beach or wherever you happen to be. Video has a way of being able to convey those different senses, even if those senses are not overtly being used. So in that sort of way, video does appeal much more, yes, especially to the visual and to the audio, but to the other senses as well. Large audiences. More people choose to consume their information visually, and online video marketing taps into this growing trend. Now, something that you want to keep in mind here is that we tend to think of new media as something that is by and large consumed by younger audiences. But the trend has been in the past several years as more and more people are getting connected on smartphones and computers. And it's becoming more and more commonplace to be able to have a life experience using online as an element for that, that all age groups are experiencing this sort of content. And that means all age groups are also experiencing video online. We're especially seeing that in a much more prolific way in these months that we're currently living in. So online video is now not just for the young. All age groups are experiencing video online. Building brand awareness. Some brands seem to have an obvious link with stories and other content that can make compelling video. Some of that has to do with the company itself and the products and services that it offers. Sometimes it's the attitude of the company in the way that it promotes itself and in the image that it wants to portray in the community. And in the ways that it does that, it is able to take that and be able to make a certain presence for itself and to be able to build its brand online. Showcasing the product. Demonstrating how to use a product has several benefits as a video marketing strategy. So there's two different groups here that we may be concerned with when it comes to product demonstration. First, there are the viewers with no experience with the product. They may watch the video and then be impressed with its quality or other appealing features and consider making a purchase based on what they see in that video, much like kind of the traditional infomercial that you would see on television. But it serves another purpose as well for another audience. Instructional videos have the advantage of assisting those that have already bought the product. Okay, so I have this new thing. How does it work? How do I repair it if it's something that's repairable? I have a question about how to make it do this thing or that thing. Videos can help to be able to explain those things in a much easier to understand way than certain types of documentation or calling tech support or something like that. Generating business leads. Video is effective in converting leads to sales. Moreover, they attract and convert at a lower cost than other favored B2B lead generation activities like trade shows. And those things work, but they are expensive. You've got the cost of renting out the space at a trade show, setting up your booth, bringing the equipment, transportation. If you're traveling across country, there's travel and lodging and all that sort of thing. And then there's the cost of those that are going to the trade shows as spectators, admission to the event, travel and lodging for them, taking time off of work, and then going around to the different seminars and booths and all that. Showcasing your stuff on video online makes it easy and convenient for the business that's doing the marketing and for the consumer that may be interested in that product. So how does a marketer make videos that are this effective in business settings? Well, the main thing you want to do is you want to be clear about your marketing objective. Now, product awareness is important, but the objective of a lead generation video is to bring about some type of behavior and not so much to develop awareness and favorable attitudes. So thinking about it from a business perspective, if a business person is looking at a particular product or service, they're already in the mindset that they're exploring different opportunities and that they may need a certain type of thing. So by coming across your video, it already shows that they're doing a certain amount of research on their own and are just looking for certain details that they're hoping to be able to get from your video. So they're aware of you already. The thing that they want to do is to figure out whether your product or service is worth their time and their money. Relevant content is essential, but don't translate relevant as long. One sales expert cites research showing that people begin to lose interest after just 1 minute and recommends that no video should be longer than 3 minutes. I mean, we see this just in the world at large. You know, just watch somebody standing in line at a fast food restaurant. If they don't have their food within 5 minutes, they get a little antsy about that. So the idea that we have these long attention spans for lots of different things, it's just not happening. You want to be able to grab someone's attention in a rather quick sort of fashion, give them the information they need in a timely sort of way that it doesn't waste their time, it doesn't bore them, and doesn't make them click away, especially in the business world where time is already going to be rather scarce for those in your audience that you're trying to reach out to. Leading video platforms. Marketers post their branded videos on multiple platforms, including their own websites. Take a look at the table in the textbook for the list of the popular platforms, and you're going to recognize many of those names on there. Of course, number one is YouTube, but there are some platforms that can serve certain other purposes for video marketing better than just throwing a video on YouTube. YouTube obviously going to be where most people are, and you're going to be there along with millions and millions and millions of other videos. So on one hand, the audience is there, but whether you get found by that audience may be a different issue depending on what it is that you're creating and what it is you're trying to do. Some examples of things to consider. Facebook allows videos on both posts and Facebook pay-per-click ads. Facebook videos allow functionality like tagging people, just like posts do. So using that platform, say, for example, if there's you've got your fan base, those that like your page, you might be able to tag someone that's a fan of the page, or be able to tag someone that is in association with the product or service that you're offering, kind of creating a network of association, and perhaps that person would like and share the content that you create as well. Snapchat's 10-second lifespan for videos is important to viewers, but equally important to marketers, because each post lives for only 24 hours. That puts greater pressure on marketers to tell a compelling story. So if you're going to put something on Snapchat, you want to make sure that your video is able to be seen quickly, is liked quickly, and is shared quickly, so that people are talking about it. And then those that missed it, well, they may be curious to find out more and search out for you and search for that video elsewhere. Because of the diversity of video platforms, marketers must learn to create and promote videos that appeal to audiences of all kinds. So, goes back to those two main questions. What is your message? Who is your audience? And what does your audience expect on different types of platforms? And what platforms is your audience using? So you want to make sure that you are moving and working in such a way that you're creating your content for those various platforms to reach those various audiences in the way that they expect to be able to get that content.